the electroacupuncture that I'm showing you is called the Han, or Professor Han Style Electro-acupuncture. It is mild. The patient feels only tapping. It is the most researched style of electroacupuncture that exists in terms of measurement of enkephalins, dynorphins, and endorphins. All right? He measured and he optimized the electropulsation, meaning the frequency, and presented papers which very, very cleanly, very, very clearly show the effect on the body vis-a-vis the secretion of dynorphins, enkephalins, and endorphins. Does that mean that this is the best style of electroacupuncture? No. But this is so well researched, you know, and it works for pain, that you can use that if you want to research, does electroacupuncture work for whatever? Do you see what I'm saying? So if you want to actually write a paper, clean, neat, and goes through the research that includes the research of the style of electroacupuncture versus others, this is very consistent and clean. So when I read a research, I want to see clean research, not EA for that yielded this results. Like, wait, let's start. What EA? 50 hertz to tolerance, 20 hertz to that. Well, what EA? All right? The points are not enough. It's what style of stimulus. So here, the stimulus is 5 seconds, 2 hertz, 5 seconds, 100 hertz. They alter cleanly into each other. Like a switch. 2, 100. 2, 100. The reason why I say like a switch is because some cheaper electroacupuncture machines, they dribble. They do like 2, 40, 90, 100. 80, 50, 10, 2. Okay? And you can get to 2, you can get to 100, but there's a lot of static in between. Now our human body is amazing in actually figuring out, receiving messages. And these dribble frequencies, they're noise. They irritate the system. They're not clinically relevant and not clinically used. So if you don't have a machine that cleanly switches between 2 and 100 hertz, you just get your regular electroacupuncture machine, you set it on 2 hertz, you do it for 10 minutes, you close the machine, then you open the machine with settings on 100 hertz for 10 minutes. And then you have, pretty much, according to Professor Han, more or less the same effects. So, the best effect, according to what he studied, is 5 seconds 2, 5 seconds 100, 5 seconds 2, 5 seconds 100. The second best, according to what he states, is you can do 10 minutes 2 and 10 minutes 100, or vice versa. Now, again, does that mean that all other electroacupuncture methods are not okay? No, that does not mean that at all. If you learn something else with other machine and it worked on your patients, please, by all means, go ahead and do that. However, a lot of those techniques are painful. So there are some rules that he puts in to his research and shows the maximum effect. Rule number 1, the leads are cross-spine. All right? Cross-spine. Rule number 2, that when you put the leads, you know, positive, negative, you actually switch and alternate. So positive, negative, negative, positive, positive, negative, negative, positive. So if you start right side positive, left side negative, then the next section down is right side negative, left side positive. Next section down, etc. Rule number 3. The frequency is a clean cut to 100. That's the frequency. 5 seconds to, 5 seconds 100. 5 seconds to, 5 seconds 100. You can't do that. Next best is 10 minutes 100, 10 minutes 2, or vice versa. Rule number 4. The intensity of the stimulus goes only until threshold. That's it. Which basically means the patient feels no pain. The patient just feels the electrical tapping, which means that there is no intervention of epinephrine and norepinephrine, which is a stress response to pain when you go to tolerance. Tolerance is pain. Tolerance means as much as I can tolerate. And some people can tolerate until literally smoke comes out of the tissue. So, you know, the way to stimulate that is with machines they call Han stimulating machines. And, you know, he was not that interested in the style of the machine, although he has he has built or have built his own machine that you can get. So if you Google Han Electro-stimulator, you can get those. Okay? OMS used to have the E600, you know, this particular machine here, you know, this particular machine here, and they don't have it anymore, but they're working on a machine that will have hand, you know, stimulation. So this particular machine, and that's why I encouraged them. I encouraged the OMS to clone this or repeat this or have, you know, a company build this, is because it has many leads. You can actually do, you know, all the way up to 6 leads, you know, and I'm going to put it down. And it is very nice because it has a very gradual intensity possibility. So it doesn't go from, you know, weak to medium to very strong in its simulation. You can really go click by click by click and get even, you know, the smallest variation of threshold. Because once you reach threshold and that's it, the patient is comfortable. So they can get a 20-minute electrical stimulation comfortably. You understand what I'm saying? That's really important, because you can then do all kinds of other treatments with that. It does not take away other treatments, which means it doesn't take away the effect of the microsystem if you then work on, you know, that. It doesn't take away of the ihikon if you work on that, you know. When do I use electrostimulation the most? When would you go into my clinic and say, ha, caught you with an electro stim in my hands? Most of the time, back pain that I could not resolve otherwise. And most of the time, back pain that I couldn't resolve otherwise, and I do a few treatments, and now it's much better, and then other treatments will help resolve it. It's somehow breaking that cycle of the pain that the patient got so used to. And then you can reduce the actual electroacupuncture treatment and increase regular treatments and get a more lasting effect. Anybody wants to feel how that feels? Yeah? So, do you have any pains?
Well, I have a little bit of left SI stuff that flares up here and there, but not terribly active. I'm always tight in my rotation.
Like here?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can feel it. I mean, you can feel tight. So what kind of needle do you use for electroacupuncture? Typically a number 5 needle. So, you know, the serine, the blue serine, 40 millimeter, 30 millimeter, that doesn't really make a big difference. But the needle is in the muscle. The needle is not intercutaneous and not subcutaneous. The needle is in the muscle. All right? Direction. If it's more in the, you know, in the huatojiaji, like here's a tight huatojiaji, then the needle will be 45 degrees towards the spine. So, you know, now, if it is a little bit on the bladder line, you know, you can, you know, here, then the needle is really towards the flow of the bladder channel, like that. Yes, you can. Okay? So this is, you know, now you can also do, and that's, you know, up to you, you can do now a local distal kind of thing. For example, let's say that she has sciatica on the left side, or maybe she has more pain on whatever the right side. So you can do, you know, on the sciatica, you can, you know, put a needle in the piriformis, and then a needle in the piriformis release point. Okay, you can do that too. Let's see, is this sore?
Little.
Is this sore?
Not as much.
So I was right that this side is a little bit more painful.
Yeah.
It's all in the touch, like you said. So, you know, you can do then this. So still within the electroacupuncture, still within the Han style, if you want, yes? I would say that we can do local distal as part of it, you know, if she has more like a lower back pain, let's say, okay? And here's what I mean by switching between the red and the blue, sorry, the red and the black, and going cross spine.
So when you go across spine, does it need to be at a mirror point? Like, you know, if you do the Watsuja.
Same segment.
Same segment.
Yes, same segment. Good question. The question was, does it have to be in the mirror point? So the answer is kind of yes. I'm staying within the same segment. Okay? So if it's a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit up, a little bit, you know, shifted, it is still, but within the same segment. All right? At least that's what I understand from his research. And again, his research is published. His research is very clean, and very clear on how he actually did it. So it's part of why I like it. So, red, black, that was the blue, and then black, red, yes, and then local distal if you want, okay, so red, black, red, black, like so. The patient is not terribly comfortable with her legs, therefore, how is this?
That's better, thank you.
You're welcome. This is an important pillow because it decompresses the lower back, right? You know that. Okay. Sometimes patients need another pillow, you know, in their pelvis. Also know that. So when you have your practice, always have enough pillows. Exactly. Have enough pillows. Yes. Now we concentrate on the machine. All right. Like this, and we move on. Yeah. We move here. Beautiful. Now we turn the machine on. So, now, what we have is this. When I turn the machine on, here I have high or low, meaning high strength or low strength. So I always start with low strength, okay? Here we have a button. Here we have a button that gives me the different kinds of electrical stimulation. Continuous, there's dispense, you know, all the different kinds. I like Han. Now, I'm using the yellow, the blue, and the red. So I start by asking her on number 1, does she feel it? Now, you see that it moves between 2 and 100. 2 and 100. So I like to ask the patient how do they feel it when they experience both 2 and 100. Because sometimes patients, you know, don't feel so much the 2 and the 100 is like a pinprick. Or some people feel the tapping but not so much the 100. So if I quickly elevate the intensity, suddenly they go, whoa, I feel it. Right? I don't need that. Tell me if you feel it.
I feel it.
You feel it. So you see how important it was to actually start with low, because the patient that we had in the next group, in the last group, didn't feel it on the low settings at all. He felt it on the high settings, not on the low. So if I would start on the high settings like my last patient, she would jump, she would jump off the table and not be that happy.
So is it progressive, or you just move from low to high?
I move from low to high.
The intensity?
Yeah, so here that goes all the way to 14, and then if it doesn't work, I shut the machine down, and I go to, and I switch it on high, and then I go again, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Usually people, if they feel it on high, feel it on the 3, 4. Usually people that feel it on the low, feel it on the 5, 6, 7, because it goes all the way to 14. She's very sensitive. She felt it on 2 on the low.
So there are 6 needles in me, or 4?
Yes, there are 6.
So it feels like I only feel one spot, like the highest one.
Here?
Yeah, I feel like a buzzing there and then a tap, 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 but I don't feel it anywhere else.
Okay, so
I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to.
we can basically increase this and see if you feel a little bit lower again.
So do you have leads connect to every needle, or just to?
I have here leads connected to every needle. And
It's hard to see with all the colors.
that's right.
Excuse me, sorry.
Do you feel more?
It feels different, but I'm not sure how. Is it?
It feels different, but I'm not sure how it means. Actually, now she feels a larger area, which means that more needles are now actually also heated.
Oh, okay.
That's basically what it means.
It seems like it's lower down. I feel it more in the lower than the upper.
Right.
Now. Okay.
So now it's more dispersed because now, and you can see that, you know, needles have different intensity of feeling. And that's also what I like about this particular machine, is that you can really regulate every single needle and how the stimulus goes.
So each channel, you have me on 3 channels?
Yes.
Each one you can adjust individually?
Each one you can adjust, so each couple can be at thresholds. Okay?
Mm-hmm. So would you like get one at threshold and then turn it off and get the next one at
You
threshold?
can do that if you
So
want to
that
be
you
even
can-
if you want to be even more analytical, you can do that as well.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Now, again, if you take a survey and you look at, you know, what we do in terms of the needling, you see that we have needles, you know, in the upper, middle, and lower, and the lower one actually here, yes, here is connected to the foot. So we have a local distal as well. They're all connected basically via the cables to the electrostim, and we set the electrostim so that it will be on the Han frequency to threshold, and she is very comfortable. And you see here the number 15? That's a timer. Since we have 20 minutes, you know, we have 20 minutes for this treatment, 15 minutes are still left over to complete it. All right? That's how easy it is. That's how simple it is. Now all you have to do is do. Right?